What's up, everybody? Happy New Year. Welcome into the Sports Arena. I'm your man, Eric Wilson. First show of 2022, as always, live on a Monday night. Starting a little bit early this evening because what can I say? I'm in a blessed and I'm in a happy mood. For those of you who know me, you know why. For those who don't, it's okay. I'm gonna tell you in about 3, 2, 1. The Eagles are in the playoffs. Could not believe it. This is a team that started 2-5, but have somehow, some way, rattled off some wins, and we have clinched a playoff spot. And we still have one more game to go. But, whenever I have the opportunity to talk to someone who is much wiser, much more knowledgeable, and definitely much more better looking than me about this, I got to bring my man on here. He is a fellow Eagles brother of mine. He is the CEO of Knights Sport Production and editor-in-chief of It Sport magazine, and the man who still to this day has given me one of the best one-liners I think I have ever heard. Mr. Leo Haggerty is in the building. Leo, what's up, man? Welcome to the Sports Arena.
Eric, it's an honor and a pleasure to be on with one of the hardest working sports journalists in America. Thank
I
you for having
appreciate you. So, man, first off, congrats to our team. We are in the playoffs, and I couldn't be any more excited. I had low expectations, but so far, so good. I got to hear from you about Philadelphia, specifically what the head coach has done to really kind of put us in this position this year.
Well, I don't know if it was the head coach, Eric, but somebody got to him and said, hey, run the damn football. And that hit about week 7 after 2-5. And all of a sudden, the Eagles shortened the game by running the football. They took the ball away from the other team's offense. And secondly, that defense that was vanilla for the first 7 games. And Ken Podolak, our Eagles guy for Night Sports Production, said the Eagles were a simple thing. They're going to sit back 7 yards and keep everything in front of you. No press, no man. Well, that changed. Week 8, they ran the football and they got aggressive on defense. And to the thing, we are sitting here saying Eagles in the playoffs. I did not think that was going to happen. So, hey, cut me, I bleed cheesesteak. You know that. And I'm a happy camper.
Listen, it is a beautiful thing. Now, we still got one more week to go. And, we
And
could
it's
potentially,
Cowboys week.
oh, believe me, the,
Cowboys
the, the reason why I'm having you on now is because I feel that it's an unfair advantage if I allow the rest of the crew who's coming on later, because I have 2 Cowboys fans on there, Megan and Mike, who I love dearly. Listen, I have 8. Wait, that's 9. Sorry. Yes, I have 8 Cowboys fans in my life that I love and respect, and that's it. As I told my 11-year-old nephew tonight, when I get to 2 more, I'm done. When I hit 10, I'm officially done. There ain't no more coming into my life.
You're out of sync.
So, but when I look at this, okay, and here's a diagram that I want to share with everybody. And, shout out to another Eagles fan of ours, Denzen Selman, who is he provided me with this. So I want to share this with you. Give me 2 seconds because I want to pull this up and I want to share this because we have the opportunity to potentially move up should certain things happen. Now, first and foremost, if the Rams beat the 49ers and the Saints beat the Falcons, no matter what happens in our game Saturday night, we move into the 6th seed. And Tampa moves into the 3 seed, which means the first round matchup would be Philly back at the home of Tom Brady and Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Bucks. So I know you cover the Bucks. You live in the Tampa area, as do I. Talk to me about this potential matchup because I'm gonna ignore what happened yesterday for a moment. But this is a huge opportunity for Philly if this comes to fruition, and I got to get your thoughts.
Oh, I don't think Tampa wants any parts of the Eagles right now, especially with Jalen Hurts being that dual option quarterback. And it was funny, Eric. I mentioned 2 weeks ago, has anybody have a Boston Scott sighting? And all of a sudden, he's become a big part of that offense. And again, he reminds me of Darren Sproles. What has given the Bucks problems in the past?
Oh, yes.
A mobile quarterback, a big tight end that can get down the field like Goddard, and speed. Sproles. Now you got Boston Scott. And I'll tell you what, I was concerned about their first pick that, again, Yeah, he won the Heisman Trophy, but he's a little smallish. I was wrong. He made it through the whole year, and believe me, that is a threat out on the perimeter right now. And the way the Bucks secondary is being held together with a Band-Aid, I don't think they want any parts of the Eagles.
So when I look at this, and like we said, it is Cowboy week. The Cowboys have been up and down this entire season. Now, as I tell everybody, especially the two Cowboy fans on our show, excuse me. Listen, when it comes to division games, you throw the rule book, the playbook, and every other book out the window because anything and everything is possible. What I will say to you, though, and I kind of need some reassurance from you on this. For the first time in my 45 years of being on this earth, I have to admit, I'm a little concerned, even though it's in Philly. And I know that when Dallas comes to Philly, they finna get their ass handed to them. We're not going to have a repeat of week 3. But we really have to set the tone for this because there is a potential way that, and I'll go back to the screen here, if San Francisco wins, Seattle wins, Carolina wins, Dallas wins, then that makes Dallas the number 2 and us the number 7. So we could potentially have back-to-back weeks of playing Dallas, except it would be back in Jerry world for the playoffs.
You know what, Eric? Here's a scenario that people need to think about.
Okay.
Dallas may be stuck in number 4, no matter what happens. If Tampa Bay wins, and they should against Carolina, that means Dallas is locked into 4. Why would you play Dak Prescott? Especially if you got a shot at playing the Eagles the following week. Again, remember, this is sad to talk about, but 9/11, the Bucks-Eagles game got canceled and kicked back to the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks were playing the Eagles the following week in Philly in the playoffs. The starters were out after one series. It was the backups playing. If I'm Dallas and I know I'm in number 4, because Tampa Bay isn't going to lose to Carolina. Carolina's a dumpster fire. Let's be honest. If Dak Prescott gets hurt, would you like to be Mike McCarthy sitting in front of that Dallas media when they say, why'd you play him? It was a meaningless game. You were going to finish 4 anyway. And I think that's why the Buccaneers got moved back to 425, because if they played their 1 o'clock game and they lost, the Rams are 2, win, lose, or draw.
Right.
They could rest everybody. And that's why I'm amazed the NFL has gone to Saturday. At Kansas City's playing Saturday night. Well, if Kansas City loses, Tennessee's the number 1 seed no matter what. It's another week to get Derrick Henry ready, and it's another week to rest your people. I don't know why the NFL is doing that, but again, Dallas usually has trouble coming up there, but they may need to win to get up to that number 3 spot. I don't think it'll be there because it's a Saturday night game. They're not going to know, but you never know how these things work out, Eric. And if I was Dallas, I'd be happy with number 4. Jerry Jones is getting a home game. And you know what? Everybody talked about why Andy Reid hung around Philly so much. Well, he got home games in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And you know about home games in the playoffs, Eric? All the money goes to the home team.
Exactly.
You know how much money the Buccaneers made last year winning the Super Bowl? Let me hold the fingers up for you. Nada. Zip. Zero. Because he didn't have a home game.
Wow. Talking to Leo Haggerty, CEO, Night Sports Production, and the editor-in-chief of It Sports Magazine. So let's flip to Tampa here for a moment because, what happened yesterday happened. And I'm sure we could talk ad nauseum about the impact that it's having on this team. But I'm going to take a page out of Bruce Arians' book, and I'm going to focus on the men who are still there and the opportunity that lay before them. So if you're a Cameron Brate, a O.J. Howard, a Rob Gronkowski, a Cyril Grayson, what is your mentality not only going into this Sunday's game against Carolina, but moving forward?
You know what, Eric? I think way too much is made out of the word distraction. And again, the Tampa Bay media, I was a little bit concerned because all the questions yesterday and today of Arians was about Antonio Brown. Nothing about the game. Nothing about, well, where is Scotty Miller now? Is he just not in the mix? I mean, where? And again, I thought Arians did a good job. I'm not talking about people who are no longer with the team. And that is, but again, they need to figure out. I think you're going to see a lot more 12 and 13 personnel with 2 and 3 tight ends, because that forces a safety or a linebacker to play one of those guys. And Cameron Brate's kind of becoming the Chris Carter of the 2020s. All he catches is touchdowns, so it's kind of comical watching when Cameron Brate comes in and they're in the red zone. I mean, that would throw me up the biggest red flag in the world. But again, defenses just don't think like we do,
Agreed. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, okay, Tampa has an opportunity to move as far up as the 2 seed, but things need to happen, of course. But in your opinion, with them winning, do they remain at the 3? And from there, they get their home playoff game. And then from there, they transition. Is this team, as currently constructed right now, capable of making that run that they made last year?
No. And here's why. This road goes through Green Bay, and it's not going to be 60 degrees in an empty stadium. I mean, think about it last year. Tampa Bay went on the road to Washington, New Orleans, and Green Bay, all of them with empty stadiums. They had the ability to play those teams all during the year. And when they got to Kansas City was -2 offensive tackles and decided to move their guards out. Boy, was that a mistake. So they knew, and again, I asked the Buccaneers defensive backs point blank. I said, hey, did you know how fast Hill was on film? He said, no, we didn't. We didn't find out until he showed up. Well, they knew how fast he was then. And that whole dynamic changed then. I just think going through Green Bay, that's why you don't want to be the number 4 seed. I think you want to be 2 or 3. And what scares me as a Buccaneer fan, if I move up to 2, that means, well, that's good, because that means the 49ers beat the Rams. That sneaks New Orleans in.
Yeah.
The 2 seasons that the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl, they lost to New Orleans both times. They lost to New Orleans both times this year, too, which is a good omen for the Buccaneers. But I don't think you want to see the guys coming out of the Big Easy in the stadium. That's for sure.
No, I agree. And that matchup, seeing the Saints versus the Rams, if Tampa was to move to 2, and then the Rams in Dallas maybe be at that 5-4, I'm okay with that matchup. Now, actually, I'm not okay with that matchup, because it would be 7-2. It would be Philly at Tampa. I'm looking at this right now and I'm trying to figure this out. Like, is there a way where
Philly wants to play the Rams? I think that's their best road in.
Really?
I do. You've got. You don't want to play Tampa with the GOAT. You don't want to play Dallas, because that means you'll play them back to back. You're going against Matthew Stafford, who has never been in a playoff game, with a lot of pressure on him to perform. And again, Philly's playing with house money right now.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they'd get in. You just hope that the coaching staff doesn't overcoach this thing. Run the damn football, play good defense, and plan to keep that game in the teens. I mean, it wasn't pretty yesterday, but you hold a team to 16 points, you're going to win a lot of NFL games.
And over the past couple of weeks, we've held teams to 15 points. So listen, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Leo, I appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much for joining me here on the first edition of the Sports Arena for 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm going to tell the story real quick and then I'm going to let you go. So Leo and I, many, many moons ago, when I was still knee-high to a grasshopper doing this podcast, sports media journalism thing, we were doing a show at a local bar in Sarasota. and Leo was there. It was my first time meeting him. And for whatever reason, we were eating at the bar. And somebody said something, and I stopped eating, and I said, you know, something crazy had to come out of somebody's mouth when a black man takes a chicken wing out of his mouth. Leo turned to me and said, that is probably one of the best one-liners I have ever heard. And I have never forgotten that, sir.
That's a classic. That is a classic. Hey, that's almost as good as the one I had with Arians after Winston threw the pick six against Atlanta. And I asked him, I said, Coach, is James fixable? 5 seconds later, he goes, we'll decide that in the offseason. And I turned to Roy Cummings and said, oh, he's so gone, it's not even funny. Hey, Eric, it's a pleasure and an honor to being your first guest on 2022. Hey, anytime you need me, I won't be a stranger.
Thank you, sir. Leo Haggerty, CEO, Night Sports Production, and editor-in-chief of It Sports Magazine, my brother. Blessings to you and the family. I will definitely talk to you in the new year.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Thank you.